There are a lot of unknowns right now. If we can agree that this year has been anything consistently, it's the unknown on so many different levels. And just when we think we know something and we think something's going to shift or improve, whatever, we take 4 steps back or whatever. And we all have different versions of this, but it's pretty much consistent to everybody that I know. So I'm bringing forth the concept of for me, I'm going to speak for me, what I'm experiencing with my clients as well, that what I'm learning is to have a new level of unconditional compassion and support for myself. Radical, right? The voices that have been in charge of my head for as long as I can remember are the voices that put pressure on me to succeed, to do, to become, to grow, whatever it is that is forward motion, the masculine energy in a way, the yang. And I've had a lot of time, space, deepening to focus on being and letting go and not controlling things, which is also a stretch for me. I know that everybody's experience during COVID is different. I feel like they're pretty extreme from those of us who are alone and inward, like myself, my experience, and those who like have kids and homeschooling and homework and spouses and businesses and COVID and, mother-in-laws with COVID and like just total and more and more and more and more on top of all that. And we've all been experiencing some of that as well. We're not immune. No one is. So I just want to bring some support and some permission and some tools to integrate this new compassion for yourself. So basically, so I just had this client session, and the client at the end of the session, she had her list of things to focus on, and I said, "Is there anything there that's not aligned for you, or feels too much pressure?" And she said, "Well, it's not really pressure; it's more like the idea of being accountable. Is kind of scary." Or that's not her words, but that's what I'm saying. It's kind of what it seemed like, and that's what I experience sometimes too. It's like, oh, well, I have this accountability, this pressure, and the thing about my coaching is that I'm not about accountability in the way that people think about it as. So the accountability that's traditional, like mainstream, is a hierarchical kind of accountability, more like a parental, like teacher kind of hierarchy kind of thing. And what I offer my clients who are paying me to work with them, like I'm not the boss. No one is the boss in that sense. It's a collaboration. Is that it's not hierarchical or parental kind of role. Nobody gets in trouble. It's unconditional support of meeting people where they are in the moment. Oh, you didn't do the thing that you had said you were going to do. Okay, why? Great. That's great. You changed your mind, and facing that thing full on helped you decide that it wasn't for you. And now we can move on to what's next. Sometimes that's a process of discernment. And that's part of the process, is stepping into something and trying it on. If it doesn't fit, you don't wear it. That makes total sense. And that's what I found is most effective for people. And it's most effective for me and the kind of support that I need is, I show, because I don't need more pressure from voices outside of myself. I have that going on. So I need support and presence with myself, and to kind of catch up with myself and to not get too far ahead of myself. And so that's what I offer my clients as well. So right now, for a lot of people, we just got through the holiday season, or we're still in it in a way. But it's about the big piece is rest right now. Like, how do we take the rest we need in the middle of winter so that we can be fortified for the spring and the rest of the year? And what does that look like for us? And rest is way, way, way underrated. So I want to talk about some models of and perception of rest real quick, that I value. So Hakomi is a school of psychology that I'm drawing upon here. And there are two images here, that I want to share. So basically, look at the one on the right first, actually, this one. So to have some kind of sense of completion with things and to rest, fully resting and having capacity in that place can bring you insight. And then from that insight, we can respond and act, or take effective action. And then we can have satisfaction and come back to rest. And I've seen this done in different linear forms. Obviously, it's a cycle, but there's sometimes it's like they start with rest, sometimes they start with insight. I've seen it different ways. Here's another one. Starting with clarity here, then effective action, satisfaction, and rest, relaxation. Um, and the thing is, if we are not getting, and I've seen it even start with rest, and then you get to clarity, and then you take action. So, and if you're not being effective, or you're not, or feeling effective, or you're not having clarity and insight in what you need, then you go back to rest. And I can't tell you, I mean, this is not uncommon with my coaching practice, but this year especially, people have been setting an intention at the beginning of the session for clarity. I asked people, what do you want to cultivate, create during this session? And clarity has been so common, because I feel like we have been in so much unknown all the time, that it's like we're constantly, okay, like now what do I do? Like I'm recalibrating based on where I'm at, and I didn't plan to be here, and I've not been here before. So how do I actually, where am I? Where am I, and what's next? Yeah. So, and today in my session with my client, there was a moment where we're talking about a bigger picture plan, and it was about being visible and marketing, basically. So I call that being visible. And there's different ways to do that depending on what your strengths are, what you want, your market, and a billion different things. It's a whole nother conversation. My client said, but what I heard first was like, take a nap, It's like, okay, great. So be visible after you take a nap. And then we decided that nap is a month of rest, actually, for that client. And she doesn't have to rest that long, and whatever. Everybody has a different pace. But it's like, what do you need right now? Like, what would feel spacious to you, and what do you have capacity and means to receive? And yeah, so like, where are you? What do you need right now? Create the big picture, put it over here, and take a freaking nap. If that's what you need, do it. There are so many unknowns, and there's a lot of stress that we have all in our systems right now, from being hyper vigilant all the time for months on end, and we're just now peaking at COVID. So it's it's insane. This is what it is. So in the midst of all this, how do we keep having businesses? How do we keep showing up? What does that look like? And there's no, coming from your old standards doesn't work anymore. Like, you got to be here where you are and say, okay, what's progress from this place where I am? Where am I right now on the map? And here's where I want to go. And I don't know how long it's going to take me to get there, how I'll get there, what pieces I have in my own control, depending on what's going on with you and how COVID relates to it and all that stuff. But, you know, making progress, like progress, not perfection. Like, how do you make progress without putting so much pressure on yourself that you end up not doing anything, or not doing anything at all forever, which is a hyper fear. So yeah, take a nap first. That's what I'm saying. And really stretching into giving yourself more compassion. It's creating a space for compassion within yourself, and some support. And what does that look like for you? Yeah. And it may look like just staring out the window. It may look like calling in your higher self. It may look like having a cup of tea. It may look like scheduling less hours of work. It may look like taking a week off. It may look like taking an extra day off per week. I don't know. But you can decide. You get to create some kind of thing, no matter how small it is, to honor yourself where you're at and to honor what is progress. And beside my bed, I have a little bitty post-it that says 3 good things today. And at night, I just think about 3 good things that happened that day. And it's not hard, it's 3 things, and sometimes there are more, of course. So that really helps to kind of keep things in perspective. So if that's helpful to you, take that on. And yeah, so all you have to do is take care of yourself, show up, and do what you can, and leave the rest. Hope this is helpful. Take care.